You were told you were too much, too emotional, too sensitive, too needy, and at some point you believed it. You started apologizing for wanting to be loved back. You started shrinking yourself so other people would stay comfortable. You started watching your own feelings like they were the problem. They weren't. Your feelings were never the problem. Your nervous system was trying to keep you alive. And nobody told you that. Nobody told you that what looks like neediness from the outside is something completely different on the inside. It is a nervous system that learned very early, very painfully, that love disappears without warning. And that the only way to survive that is to never stop watching for the signs. Most people call this being too sensitive. Psychology calls it anxious attachment. And the difference between those two explanations changes everything about how you see yourself. Because one is a character flaw, and one is a survival strategy. You were not born anxious. You were trained to be. And understanding how that training happened is the beginning of the only kind of healing that actually works. Not the kind that tells you to love yourself more, the kind that explains exactly what happened to your nervous system and why it is still running a program that made complete sense once but is destroying you now. That is what this video is about. Stay with it, because by the end of this, you will not see yourself the same way again. Most people think anxious attachment is about being insecure. They think it means you lack confidence, that you are emotionally immature, that you have not done the work. And those people have never spent a single day living inside an anxious nervous system. Because anxious attachment is not about confidence. It is about prediction. It is about a brain that learned at a developmental level that the people who are supposed to love you are not always going to be there. And once a brain learns that lesson, it never fully unlearns it. Here is what the science actually says. In the 1960s, British psychiatrist John Bowlby developed what became known as attachment theory. The idea that humans are biologically wired to seek closeness with caregivers for survival, not just emotionally, biologically. When an infant is separated from its primary caregiver, the body releases cortisol, the same stress hormone released during physical danger. To a developing nervous system, abandonment and death are processed in the same region of the brain. Let that land. To your nervous system when you were small, being left was not just painful, it was potentially fatal. And so the brain built a system to prevent it. Stay alert, monitor constantly, never miss the early signs that love is withdrawing. Because if you catch it early enough, maybe you can stop it. Mary Ainsworth built on Bowlby's work in the 1970s with her landmark strange situation experiments. She separated infants from their mothers briefly and observed how they responded when the mother returned. Some children, what she called securely attached, were distressed when their mother left, but calmed quickly when she returned. Their nervous system had learned, when I need comfort, comfort comes. But another group, the anxiously attached children, showed something different. They were inconsolable when the mother left, and when she returned, they could not be calmed. They clung. They cried. They pushed away and then pulled back. They could not regulate, not because they were broken, because their caregiving environment had been inconsistent. Sometimes comfort came when they cried. Sometimes it didn't. Sometimes the caregiver was warm, sometimes cold, sometimes present, sometimes gone without explanation. And the child's brain made the only logical conclusion available. I cannot predict when love is coming, so I must never stop looking for it. That conclusion, made before you had language, before you had conscious thought, is still running inside you right now. It did not expire when you grew up. It did not disappear when you moved out. It followed you into every relationship you have ever had. And it will keep following you until you understand what it actually is and where it actually came from. Here is what nobody explains about anxious attachment. It is not a personality trait. It is a neural pattern. And neural patterns are not opinions. They are not choices. They are not weaknesses. They are wiring. When you developed anxiously, your brain built hyperactive threat detection circuitry in the amygdala, the brain's alarm system. The amygdala does not think. It scans. It is looking for patterns that previously predicted danger. And for you, the pattern that previously predicted danger was emotional distance, a shift in someone's tone, a delayed response, a change in their energy toward you. These are not red flags. To your amygdala, they are sirens, because your brain spent years learning that these exact signals preceded abandonment. So when your partner goes quiet, when their text takes longer than usual, when something in their voice sounds different, your amygdala fires. Not because something is wrong, but because something once was. And your nervous system cannot tell the difference between then and now. It cannot distinguish between the adult you are today and the child who needed to monitor constantly to survive. It only knows one thing. This pattern preceded pain before. Activate now. And so cortisol floods your system. Your heart rate climbs. Your attention narrows to one thing, the relationship. Rational thought becomes almost impossible. Neuroscientists call this amygdala hijack. The moment the emotional brain overrides the rational brain because it has detected what it believes is a survival threat. In that moment, you are not an adult managing a relationship. You are a nervous system in emergency mode, and from the outside it looks like neediness. It looks like insecurity. It looks like being too much. But from the inside, it feels like drowning. And you have never been able to explain the difference until now. Now let's talk about what happens next, because the amygdala firing is only the beginning. Once your threat system activates, once your nervous system decides there is danger, it does not wait for evidence. It acts. And the action is always the same. Move toward the source of attachment, restore the connection, make the danger go away. This is what looks like chasing. This is what looks like being obsessive. This is what people call clingy. But it is not emotional weakness. It is the nervous system executing its most fundamental protocol. Danger detected. Seek safety. Now, the problem is, the person you are seeking safety from is sometimes the exact person triggering the danger signal. And this is where the anxious avoidant dynamic becomes a trap that can destroy both people inside it. When you feel the connection withdrawing, your system activates and you move toward them. When they feel you moving toward them, their system activates and they move away. Your pursuit triggers their withdrawal. Their withdrawal triggers more pursuit. Dr. Sue Johnson, founder of emotionally focused therapy, called this the protest cycle, a loop where both partners are responding to their own nervous system's threat responses without realizing they are creating the very danger they are each trying to escape. You are not chasing because you are needy. You are chasing because your nervous system told you that if you do not close this distance right now, something terrible is going to happen. It has told you that before. It was right before. The person who was supposed to stay left. And your brain built a system to make sure that never happened again. That system is exhausting. But it was never stupid. It was never weak. It was the most intelligent response available to a nervous system that had experienced what it felt like when love disappeared without warning. Now, here is the part that hits the hardest. The relationships that trigger your anxious attachment most intensely are not usually the relationships where the danger is greatest. They are the relationships that feel the most familiar. And familiar does not mean safe. Familiar means recognized. Your nervous system is not looking for love. It is looking for the emotional pattern it learned to call home. And home, for many anxiously attached people, was a place where love was real but inconsistent, where warmth was genuine but unreliable, where you never quite knew where you stood. That pattern, real love, unpredictable delivery, is exactly what intermittent reinforcement creates. And intermittent reinforcement is the most addictive emotional dynamic the human brain can experience. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz demonstrated that dopamine neurons fire more intensely in response to unpredictable rewards than to predictable ones. Not slightly more, dramatically more. The brain does not reward certainty. It rewards anticipation. So the relationship where you never know where you stand, where sometimes they are warm and present and sometimes cold and distant, that relationship activates your dopamine system more powerfully than a stable, consistent relationship ever would. The highs feel higher. The relief when they return feels more intense. The connection when it's good feels more real, because your nervous system has been waiting for it. And the waiting, that desperate, exhausting, consuming waiting, is not a sign that you love them more than you have loved anyone. It is a sign that your nervous system found something it already knew how to survive, something that felt like home, even if home was never fully safe. Here is what most people never understand about being anxiously attached. The emotional labor is invisible. From the outside, the anxious partner looks reactive, emotional, intense, difficult. But from the inside, they are working constantly. Every interaction is being processed at a neurological level that most people never experience. Tone of voice, word choice, response time, body language, the specific way someone laughs, the half-second pause before they answer. All of it is being analyzed. All of it is feeding the threat detection system. All of it is being cross-referenced against the pattern library that the brain has spent years building. Elaine Aron's research on highly sensitive people, which overlaps significantly with anxious attachment, found that highly sensitive individuals process emotional and sensory information more deeply at a neurological level. Their brains show greater activation in the insula, the region responsible for awareness, empathy, and gut feeling. In plain terms, what other people experience as a minor emotional shift, you experience as a full nervous system event. One cold reply, one tone that sounds different, one moment where they seemed distracted. Other people process that and move on in minutes. You are still carrying it hours later, not because you are overdramatic, because your brain is doing more processing, more deeply, more completely, with more biological consequence. The emotional labor of monitoring, analyzing, trying to predict, trying to prevent, trying to restore, it is biologically expensive. Cortisol remains elevated. The HPA axis of the body's stress response system stays activated longer than it should. And chronic HPA axis dysregulation does not just feel bad. It has physical consequences: disrupted sleep, weakened immune function, digestive problems, cardiovascular strain, cognitive fog, memory impairment. Harvard Medical School research has linked chronic psychological stress to measurable physical damage at the cellular level, including accelerated telomere shortening, the biological marker of accelerated aging. You are not just emotionally exhausted. Your body is paying a cost that no one can see from the outside, and you have been paying it silently for years. Now let's talk about what this actually costs you in relationships, because the cruelest part of anxious attachment is not the pain it creates. It is the way it makes you responsible for that pain. When you reach out too much, it's your fault. When you need reassurance, you're too needy. When you read the room, you're paranoid. When you feel the shift, you're imagining things. And over time, many anxiously attached people internalize this narrative. They start to believe that their nervous system is the problem, that their sensitivity is a flaw, that their need for consistency is asking too much. This is one of the most damaging misunderstandings in relational psychology, because the need for emotional consistency is not a personal failing. It is a biological requirement. James Cone's research on social baseline theory demonstrated that the human nervous system is designed to operate within close social bonds. In other words, your nervous system was not built to function alone. It was built to co-regulate. Co-regulation is the neurological process where two nervous systems in close proximity synchronize and stabilize each other. A calm, consistent presence literally regulates your stress hormones. A warm, stable partner is not just emotionally comforting, they are neurologically regulating. And when that regulation is inconsistent, when the warmth comes and goes, when the closeness appears and disappears, your nervous system is not just emotionally unsettled, it is physiologically dysregulated. It is operating without the biological input it was designed to receive. That is not neediness. That is a nervous system trying to function without a critical component. And asking for that component, asking for consistency, for reliability, for emotional safety, is not asking too much. It is asking for what the human nervous system was built to require. Now here is where the deepest wound lives. For most anxiously attached people, the pattern did not begin with a romantic partner. It began with a parent, or a caregiver, or both. It began in the first years of life, before language, before memory, before conscious thought, when the nervous system was being built from the materials it was given. And what it was given was love that was real but unpredictable. A parent who was warm when they were not stressed and cold when they were. Present when life was calm and gone when it wasn't. Loving, genuinely loving, but unable to provide the consistent attunement that a developing nervous system requires. And the child did not interpret this as, my parent is struggling. The child interpreted this as, I am not enough to make them stay. That conclusion, I am not enough, is not a thought. It is a felt sense, a bodily experience, a nervous system belief that precedes language and logic. And it drives everything, the hypervigilance, the monitoring, the constant reading of the room, the desperate need for reassurance, the crushing weight of a delayed text, the catastrophizing when someone goes quiet. All of it traces back to one moment or 1,000 small moments when the person who was supposed to stay didn't. And the child's brain decided, if I can just be better, more attuned, more careful, more what they need, maybe they will stay. That strategy is still running in your adult relationships with people who are not your parents, in situations that are not what you think they are. And it will keep running until it is seen clearly for what it actually is. Not a flaw. A learned response to an environment that did not give your nervous system what it needed to develop secure attachment. Here is the most important reframe in this entire video. Your anxious attachment is not evidence that you love too much. It is evidence that you learned to love in an environment where love was never guaranteed. And so you develop the only rational strategy available. Love harder. Pay closer attention. Never stop trying to earn what should have been given freely. That strategy was not weakness. That strategy kept you connected in a connection that was unpredictable. It worked. It just cost you everything. And it keeps costing you now in relationships with people who are not the ones who originally made love feel unsafe. But your nervous system does not know that. Your nervous system is running the same program in a different environment, searching for the danger it was built to find, activating the defenses it was built to use, pursuing the connection it was built to need, in situations where none of that is necessary. And here is what changes everything: neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself based on new experiences. Your attachment pattern was learned, and anything learned can, with the right conditions, be unlearned. Not instantly, not through positive thinking, not through willpower, but through consistent experience of something new. Earned secure attachment, a concept developed by researchers like Mary Main, refers to the process by which an anxiously or avoidantly attached person develops secure attachment through adult experience. Not through a perfect childhood, through new data. When a nervous system that expected inconsistency experiences consistency, when a brain that predicted abandonment receives reliable presence, when a body that braced for withdrawal encounters someone who stays, the pattern begins to update. Slowly, imperfectly, but measurably. Research on neuroplasticity consistently shows that the adult brain retains the capacity for structural change throughout life. New neural pathways can be built. Old threat responses can be quieted, not eliminated, but no longer dominant. The amygdala that fires on a hair trigger can learn that this moment is different from that moment, that this person is not that person, that this relationship is not that relationship, but it requires something specific. It requires a felt experience of safety, not just an intellectual understanding of it. You cannot think your way out of anxious attachment. You have to experience your way out of it. And that begins with one thing that most people skip entirely: understanding that your nervous system was never the problem. It was the solution. The most intelligent, adaptive, protective solution available to a child who needed to survive an unpredictable emotional environment. It is not broken. It is just running an outdated program in a world that has changed. And you, finally, for the first time, are allowed to update it. Not by becoming less sensitive, by becoming safe enough that your sensitivity no longer has to be a weapon. You were never too much. You were given too little consistency, too little predictability, too little of the reliable emotional presence that a developing nervous system requires. And you adapted, brilliantly, exhaustingly, at enormous cost, but you adapted. And the same intelligence that built that adaptation, that same capacity for attunement, for reading people, for feeling deeply, for caring with every part of yourself, is exactly what makes you capable of building something completely different. Not a smaller version of yourself. A version of yourself that no longer needs to earn love by constantly proving you are worth keeping. Because you were always worth keeping. You just needed someone to stay long enough for your nervous system to believe it. The work is not about loving less. It is about learning, slowly, in the body, not just the mind, that love does not have to hurt to be real. That presence does not have to be earned, that you do not have to monitor to be safe. That is not a small thing. For a nervous system that has spent years preparing for the withdrawal that never came, learning to rest in a connection without waiting for it to end, that is everything. You were never too much. You were never asking for too much. You were a nervous system doing exactly what it was built to do. The question now is not what was wrong with you. The question is what your nervous system has never been given the chance to learn. And the answer to that question is the beginning of the rest of your life.